Hi all, it's Alyssa, and today I'm going to review The Hunt, which stars Betty Gilpin and Hilary Swank, and it is directed by Craig Zobel, who also did Compliance, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit. So this movie had so much controversy when it not even came out, but just this kind of buzz around it. I think it was supposed to come out in August, but I just saw it on demand, and I did not think there was any reason that this movie deserved as much controversy as what is surrounding it. It is so clearly a satire. It is not meant to be taken seriously at all. And the fact that some people maybe did, there's no way they actually saw this film and started complaining about it, because the characters are so over the top. Maybe if you were in that 0.5% far right, far left, yes, maybe you would be offended, but I think almost anyone watching this would understand that the whole thing is meant to be a joke. It's meant to be a satire, and the characters are just caricatures on both sides of the spectrum. There's nothing genuine about these people. So the movie starts off with a group of people who get dropped in the middle of a field. They are gagged, they're tied up. They all begin to gather around this wood box when one brave soul checks to see what's inside, and what do you know? There's a pig and a bunch of guns. So the premise really is a bunch of wealthy liberal elites handpick a group of right-wingers to hunt people. But this is a movie, so of course the plot is never as straightforward as that, and there are a ton of twists and turns. I like how the movie changes perspective. So the beginning of the film has a really nice setup, and you kind of go from character to character just to get introduced to all of the characters that are in the film. And then you kind of land on the protagonist, who's Crystal, played by Betty Gilpin, and she is just that quintessential badass character. Really a lot of fun, and there's something a little bit different about her. So I would say she's the only character who is not a caricature and feels like a real person. She's ex-military, so she really knows what to do in every situation. She notices every single conceivable detail, and it's just fun to watch this kind of character, and Betty Gilpin plays her really well. Even though she is really pretty, she would make these really awkward faces throughout the whole movie, which added to the humor and the tone. And the tone was inconsistent, I found at times, but she was not inconsistent. And I would say that she was probably the best part of the entire film. And of course, the movie, it has a ton of twists and turns, which I'm not going to say, but it all leads to a big showdown. So you get the scene between Athena, who's played by Hilary Swank, and Crystal, and of course they have their showdown, which you're waiting for throughout the entire movie, and that's kind of it. There's not much more to this film. Yeah, it's fun, it's entertaining, but it really, I thought, had the opportunity to have a larger political message, a larger moral message, but there really is no message in this movie at all. I did not really get much of anything, and that really surprised me, because the director, he's also made Compliance, and that was a film when it came out, I think in 2012, that just felt so real and genuine. And I know I mentioned it in the other video, but that's a movie about a girl who is accused of stealing from a fast food restaurant, and then she's brought into the back, and the people who work in the restaurant, they think they're speaking to a cop, but they're actually not, and they just follow everything that he's saying blindly. And it's a really disturbing film. It's a very real film, and this just felt like it was made by a completely different person. I was shocked to know that this was the exact same director as both films, and so in that sense, it was definitely disappointing. Another thing that I found disappointing, and I know this is a small thing, but the score, it was just so generic, and it didn't feel real at all. It kind of felt like early 2000s score in a blockbuster movie, and then it almost felt like I could download this music to put into one of these videos, which is one of those royalty-free music. So it didn't give any kind of style, and this kind of movie is so it's just so necessary that you base it on a sort of style, a feeling, a tone, and when that tone is not consistent throughout the whole movie in the way that this is not really consistent, it just kind of breaks it a little bit for me. But that's not to say that this wouldn't be a fun movie to watch if you, I wouldn't necessarily pay the $20 because right now it's on video on demand, and that brings up a whole other thing. The fact that movies from the movie theater just kind of shifted into video on demand. You can pay $20 to see them. And I think for right now, it's a really good idea. This way people have access to these kind of movies, and you know, most movie theaters are closed anyway. So this makes sense. I hope that this is not the long term. I don't think this will be the long term. I think this is just to address the problem and the crisis that we are all in right now. So is it worth the $20? I mean, if you wanted to forget the world you were living in for, you know, the hour and a half, then maybe. Because I actually said to my husband when we were done with the movie, I was like, wow, I forgot that we were living in a pandemic, because it was just a silly fun movie. And so if you're in the mood for that, then definitely rent it. You could also definitely wait to rent it until it's that cheaper rental, so say like $7, which I'm sure it'll be in, you know, 2 months or something like that, probably even less. But all in all, now for the reviews. Once again, we put it into the watchability and to artistry. So watchability is how entertaining it is. And there I would give the movie a B. It was fun, it was entertaining. There's not that much more to say than that, but it was a really good performance by Betty Gilpin, and it was nice to see her not just on a TV show, so that was good. And in terms of artistry, I would give this a C+. I felt like they were trying to make this something more than what it actually was. It just didn't necessarily succeed, and the director's previous film was just so much better. So if we're averaging that out, that would come to a B-. So I hope you guys are still well and that everyone stays safe and inside. If you've seen this movie, let me know what you thought of it. Are you going to rent The Hunt? Are you going to rent some of these newer movies that are on demand that cost more money? I know I'm really excited to see Emma, but I'm most excited to see The Invisible Man, which now knowing me, that means it will take me the longest to see that movie, because I like to hold off on the things that I like, that I am the most excited for. So just let me know what you guys are thinking, and I will talk to you all soon. All right, bye.